Okay, welcome to our video on hospital autopsies and autopsy rates. The formulas and presentation are brought to you by Virginia, Isabella, Martina, and Andrea. So what is an autopsy? It is a post-mortem examination of the organs and tissues of a body to determine cause of death or pathological conditions. They can be performed by a coroner, who is a physician or non-physician tasked with determining cause, time, manner of death, in unattended, violent, or unexplained deaths. They can also be performed by a medical examiner, who is a physician specializing in pathology or forensic medicine. The autopsy rate is the proportion of deaths that are followed by the performance of an autopsy. So our learning objectives today are to analyze the gross autopsy rate, net autopsy rate, and adjusted hospital autopsy rate. The gross autopsy rate is the ratio of all inpatient autopsies to all inpatient deaths during any given period. So this would exclude outpatient deaths from this statistic. This is a visual of the gross autopsy rate formula. And our example is the following. During August, University Hospital discharged 1,390 patients. The hospital had 32 deaths, including newborns, and performed 13 autopsies. Calculate the gross autopsy rate and rounding to the nearest tenth of a percent. So recall that the formula is total autopsies on inpatient deaths, which we know to be 13, over the total inpatient deaths, which we know to be 32. So that calculation comes out to 0.40625. So to convert to a percentage, we multiply that by 100, which comes out to 40.625. We do need to round to the nearest tenth, so our final answer is 40.6%. The net autopsy rate is the ratio of the total number of inpatient autopsies performed by the hospital pathologist to the total number of inpatient deaths minus not autopsied coroners or medical examiners cases for that same period. A visual again of the not autopsy rate formula, remembering to minus the cases removed by the coroner or medical examiner. So our net autopsy rate example is, during May, Northwest Community Hospital had 21 patient deaths and 4 autopsies. 2 of the bodies were released to the county coroner for autopsy. Calculate the net autopsy rate and round to the nearest hundredth. We recall that the numerator for the rate is the total autopsies on inpatient deaths, which we know to be 4, minus the total inpatient deaths, which we know to be 21, but we subtract the 2 that were released to the county coroner. So our new denominator is 19. 4 over 19 comes out to 0.2105. When we convert to a percentage by multiplying by 100, our final answer is 21.05%. The adjusted hospital autopsy rate is the proportion of hospital autopsies performed following deaths of patients whose bodies are available for autopsy. Important reminders are that this rate encompasses all autopsies, which include inpatients, outpatients, home health patients, and previous patients who died elsewhere, but their bodies are available for a hospital autopsy. This does not include coroner's cases that require the bodies to be removed and autopsy to be performed elsewhere. So a visual of our formula. And our example is the following. Community Hospital had 260 discharges in May. 8 were deaths. The hospital pathologist performed 2 of the autopsies, and during this period, 2 home care patients and 1 outpatient died and were brought to the hospital for autopsy. Calculate the adjusted hospital autopsy rate and round to the nearest hundredth. So to determine this, the numerator we know that is the autopsies performed. So we add the 2 performed by the hospital pathologist, the 2 home care patients, and 1 outpatient. We've included the 100 in this calculation for the percentage conversion. And the denominator we know to be all bodies who are available for autopsy, which are the 8 deaths, 2 home care patients, and 1 outpatient death. When that calculation is performed, our final answer is 45.45%. So in our research, we've come to conclude that autopsy rates in the United States have actually declined since the 1970s, where it was somewhere near 40 to 60%, to somewhere near 5% of all deaths by the year 2007. This could be due to advances in diagnostic modalities, but also introduction of new hospital accreditation standards, state laws, and regulations about which deaths should be investigated. Here are some of our citations, and we hope you enjoy this video. Thank you.